Okay, so this video we're going to talk about Rome. We spent 5 days there, and I personally think this is my favorite city that we went to on our trip.
I still like Venice better, but I loved Rome.
Yeah, Rome, our very first impression of Rome was getting off of a train and walking into the city and not being impressed. We were very upset about Rome.
Yeah, it really just
first.
looked like a city. Like, it didn't even look like anything like I pictured ancient Rome, which I know obviously it's the capital and there's a lot of stuff that happens, but still, I was just expecting like older,
more historic.
Yeah, like to not look like a regular city, so it was disappointing.
But so from the bus or the train station, we went to the Colosseum to like get onto a bus to go into our hotel. And whenever we saw the Colosseum, we both freaked out because it's just amazing.
Yes, that turned everything around right then and there.
That moment. So, we got off at the Colosseum and we literally stared at it for like 30 minutes. It was almost nighttime, so we couldn't go in or anything like that. But then we got on a bus and we went on the oldest road of Rome to our hotel.
It's also the bumpiest road in history.
It's
so loud.
It is so interesting that it's the oldest road in Rome, but I never want to drive on it again.
Yeah.
I feel like you would get whiplash if you drove on that like every single day. So anyway, so then we got to our hotel, and our hotel was really cheap, okay? It was like 23 euros a night for both of us. So we expected like a crappy hotel, and it was not. It was a really nice hotel. It was a very fancy hotel. I don't know what kind of sale they had or anything like that, but it was cheap and it was nice. So if you're ever going to Rome, we recommend Capannelli Hotel. Sorry. It's a little far away from the actual city, but it's worth it because a 3-day pass cost us like $18 for all of the buses and all of the metros, so it was definitely worth it. So anyway, this entire trip we didn't have phones during because we weren't about to buy phone plans. So it was kind of difficult to figure out where we were going most of the time, and it was only our bright idea the 3rd day that we were there to get a map. We stayed there for 5 days. So the next morning we wake up and we went to the Vatican, and we got off the metro and we randomly bumped into this lady who was asking if we would want to sign up for a tour of the Vatican. And while I do not suggest going on a bunch of places because they're just expensive and you can figure out all the information by yourself, the Vatican tour was definitely worth the extra $20 to get into the Vatican. It pretty much got us out of every line. I don't know, most of the Vatican is just artwork and sculptures and stuff like that. So it was nice being explained all of the different artwork and why it's important in history. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the Vatican City. I was impressed with a lot of the artwork. There was a lot of sculptures, and
I have a new appreciation for artwork since coming to Finland, and I think that was just like the topper on the cake that now I like art.
I mean, probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. I don't like doing art, but I definitely like looking at art.
Michelangelo, though.
But yeah, the Sistine Chapel, I feel like everybody like hypes this up in their mind so much that it's such a beautiful place. And
I thought the chapel would be like more of a church, but it's just basically like an empty building, and there's just a whole bunch of people just standing really close together, and everyone's just looking at the ceiling, but there's no like chairs except around like the far like on the wall, so you're just standing in a big open room. So
I thought we were going to be able to see like an actual church on the outside too.
Yeah, you can't see that. It's very odd. It's definitely impressive looking at the ceiling, but it was very narrow compared to what I thought it was going to be. It was much smaller than I thought. So it was kind of interesting, but still impressive.
The actual like building itself was way underwhelming than I thought it was going to be, but the actual artwork on the ceiling, I was personally afraid that I wasn't going to be able to see it well since I'm practically blind. But I was very impressed by Michelangelo's work.
Yeah, it was pretty. The courtyard was pretty. And everything, like where the Pope gives his speeches off the balcony. That was cool. So there was a lot of like really interesting things in Vatican City. Like you can't see all of it in a day because it's so big, but we saw like the main highlights. So
it was definitely worth it. Neither one of us are Catholic, and they said so many things about like. Obviously, if you're Catholic, I feel like you would appreciate it a little bit more since it's so important in the Catholic denomination. But I don't know. I feel like I would have appreciated it more if I was a Catholic, but being the Baptist I am, I still greatly appreciated it. It was a very pretty place, full of history too.
Yeah, yes. I liked it. It was very cool.
Yeah. So, did we do anything that day? We saw the Trevi Fountain that day.
Yeah, we saw the Trevi Fountain and the Spanish Steps.
We saw the Spanish Steps like 30 times.
Yeah, we kept getting like lost, so we'd make like giant circles and end up right back there. But they were still impressive every time we passed by them. So
every time.
There's that.
We didn't know a lot of like the super famous attractions in Rome until we got to Rome. Like I didn't really know what the Trevi Fountain was. Like I've seen pictures of it, but I didn't know its name was the Trevi Fountain. I think the Trevi Fountain and the Colosseum were my two favorite things in Rome.
The Trevi Fountain is really pretty.
Yeah.
The Spanish Steps literally are steps, but I mean
they're impressive steps.
They're impressive steps, but those are definitely just steps.
Yeah, it's right across from the street from McDonald's, if anybody wonders. That's why we kept seeing it, because we were trying to find the McDonald's. So, the Trevi Fountain, you're supposed to throw a coin in and make a wish. And your wish is supposed to be to come back to Rome, which I think is a little odd, little like egotistical of Rome to make their most famous fountain a wish back to Rome. So then you can make the same wish again. But yeah, although, question, are you supposed to put in like 1 cent euros into that? Like, what is the typical European amount that you put into wishing fountains? Because in America, it would be a penny. And I quite wondered that because people were throwing like 2 euros and stuff like that, and I just think that's ridiculous. Yeah. So after the Trevi Fountain, we saw the Spanish Steps, yeah. And then we went back to the hotel for the night. And then the next day, we were planning on going to the Colosseum first, but then we saw a really pretty building, so we got off the bus.
My bad.
Yes.
It was an impressive building.
It was a very impressive building.
So we got to see a lot of different things that day. Like, I'm not sure what that building was. We saw, like, a really old church and, like, a really cool statues. And then, like...
I'll put a picture of that specific building at the end of this video. But that specific building had, like, 30 sets of stairs we had to climb.
We climbed... In that one day, we climbed 37 floors. So that was great. But we saw... I don't know, just buildings that were from that time that they, like, preserved and stuff like that. So we actually saw, like, a ton of stuff.
Yeah. We saw the Roman Forum.
Yeah,
that was amazing. You're very into, like, anthropology, and I'm very into, like, ancient history. And that's probably why... Rome was my favorite city because it was so full of history and it had everything that Berlin didn't in my mind. Like I was excited to see historical things in Berlin, but I saw historical things in Rome that I liked so much.
Yeah, the Forum is really cool and you get to really see like how it was, but it's kind of sad if you look at before and after pictures because it's really not the same, but it's still really impressive. So we saw it too. We saw the Imperial Forum and the Roman Forum. We saw both of them. And later we toured the Colosseum. Yeah. That was really impressive.
That was absolutely amazing. The Colosseum. That's the most infamous building in the world. pretty much. But I don't know, I went on a little spurt during Rome of learning about ancient Rome, so I watched like 20 documentaries about Rome, and I learned a ton of things, and it was really interesting going to those actual places and seeing, like, thinking about what did happen here and, like, what was everyday life here like, and everything like that. So yeah, what else did we do that day after the Colosseum?
We saw the Pantheon.
Was that the same day?
It doesn't really matter.
Okay, well, we saw the Pantheon. That is extremely interesting. Apparently I mixed up the Greek Pantheon and the Roman Pantheon, like what they were for. I did not know that the Roman Pantheon was for, it was like dedicated to all of the Roman gods. And it's the building that, at the time, it was the highest dome built without like extra support. And at the very top of the building, there's like a skylight showing the heavens and everything like that. That was kind of underwhelming too, but it was extremely interesting.
Yeah, it doesn't look like ancient at all because they completely redid the inside, I think, and they like added like newer churchy things. So like it wasn't like you got to really see what it used to look like at all. Yeah. But
the architecture was fantastic.
It was.
It was a little disappointing. As much as I want a lot of things to have Jesus in them and everything like that, it was really upsetting to see that like this building was created for the Greek gods, and I was very excited to see like the mythology and everything like that, and the entire inside was all Jesus, pretty much. So it was just weird seeing like it was dedicated to a completely different religion, and now it's a church. Yeah, but it was very cool, the entire architecture. I recommend looking up some facts about like all of the buildings you're gonna see if you go to Rome. So then we went to see Circus Maximus. That was, I don't know, that was bittersweet for me, because the Circus Maximus was, I don't know, I feel like people get that and the Colosseum mixed up in America, where they think that chariot races and everything happen in the Colosseum, but that happened in the Circus Maximus.
So I would definitely say that the Circus Maximus is definitely known for that because it's more of an oval shape, so chariots rode around, and the Colosseum is more for fighting and the tigers and everything. So it was really cool, but it's pretty much just grass now. Like, you can see the outline and everything, and they have, like, a walkway in the middle, which
I love that walkway because in ancient times, it had a bunch of, like, sculptures in it, and it was to represent the backbone of their I don't know, something enemies, their, like, hated enemies. I think that's funny.
I think the only thing really left is at the very end where the tower that the king used to sit at and the building that was behind it that was connected to it is still kind of there, but the actual thing is kind of grass, which is kind of nice because you get to sit on the grass. You can actually walk around the entire thing. There's not like a bunch of like guards or fences or anything, so you can actually walk in that one. Yeah. So that was cool. But yeah,
I thought it was nice that they let it, like they kept where it was, as everyone knows that's what it was, but they let it deteriorate. I thought it was very aesthetically pleasing, I guess.
Yeah. We saw a lot of like little, like the big monuments, like lesser known, when we don't even know the names. But we saw a ton of different things in Rome. But I'd say the one most annoying thing in Rome is all of the gypsies, because I just can't handle them. Like, you can, I don't even know how to describe it. Like,
hold on, I'm gonna go get the stuff that we got tricked into. This button. Okay, so these gypsies. I'm gonna talk about our favorite ones last out of the different sets of them. So there's their selfie stick guys. Okay. Don't even respond to them when they say, do you want a selfie stick? It doesn't matter if you're holding a selfie stick. They'll come up to you and they'll be like, selfie stick?
Yeah. Literally, you have to tell them no like a million times, and then like as soon as they leave, like another one shows up immediately. Like at all of the biggest tourist attractions, like we took pictures outside of the Coliseum for probably 20 minutes or something, and we probably had like 50 of them. Like it was ridiculous. Like
it's like they line up behind you.
Yeah. Honestly, like I think it's honestly like an overkill. Like somebody needs to.
If they see you taking a picture without a selfie stick, they will come up to you and be like, selfie stick?
Yeah, and I mean, like at first we were kind of like, no, thank you, and they're like, oh no, here, $5, and make a deal just for you. Like, no. Like you have
I don't like selfie sticks.
Yeah, you really got to tell them no like a million times.
Be mean whenever you say no. Like say it angrily and then they won't bother you anymore.
Yeah, then there's also the people that sell, I don't know what you call them. They're like this big and they have pictures of the Coliseum in them.
Oh, like the little glass things.
Yeah, and you also have to say no to that one. And then there's the
Those people are way more respectful though.
What? And then roses, like you can't even touch the, like do not at all costs touch the roses ever. Like never touch the rose ever. Like you need to like just like bring your
like
hands
this
away,
and be like no,
like,
and just walk away.
Just don't touch any part of that.
Because if you touch the rose, then you have to buy the rose, and the rose is like €8.
Just never let anyone hand you anything. Like keep your hands in your pocket or something, but never let anybody hand you anything.
Never get in a conversation with anybody that's selling anything.
Yeah,
because they got you. If they say hi, then they got you.
They really start with, I'm from blank. Where are you from? And then you answer. Then they're like, oh, is this your first time in Rome? Then how are you doing? How long you here? Like it just keeps escalating, and then they're like, oh, a present for you, and you just need to like just never engage in a conversation.
If any person ever comes up to you and tries to go like this and give you a high five, let them just high five there, because that like they'll hold on to your hand while asking, where are you from? So our favorite gypsies. So we were by the Roman forums, and we were like, I don't know, just standing there, like, having a regular conversation of, like, oh, I wonder if this ever happened here. I wonder what happened here, stuff like that. So this guy comes up to us, and he was so nice. And he was like, where are you guys from? And he is from South Africa. And we say America.
We didn't know anything about them. Yeah. This was the first person. And he was just sitting there. Like, he never, like, walked towards us. He never try to get up. He was just sitting quietly.
It seems
there was
like
no one
small
around
talk,
us.
Honestly.
Like, hey, how are you doing? Oh, good. Where are you from? And then we were like, oh, America. And he told us. And then he was like, oh, is this your first time in Rome? And we were like, yeah. And he was like, I'm from South Africa. Like, here, why don't you look at this? Like, I have a gift for you. He gave us these
little bracelets and put them on our wrist. And we were like, aw, like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it was like a gift for you, like first time in Rome, here's a gift. And we were like, oh, thank you.
Thanks. I don't know. People gave us free things in Helsinki, so we kind of just figured people were nice.
And I mean, I've gotten free things from people in general, like even in America. I mean, especially like them just, here is a gift. And so, yeah.
Or normally, like I would say in America, if you get something free, like this little bracelet or something, then it's normally accompanied with like a flyer of something later in the day, like, oh, come to this bar or something like that.
Then he was just like, oh, do you have any kind of change, just for my family, just as a thank you? And we were like, oh, okay, yeah. So we just gave him €1, and he was like, oh, thank you, this is good. And we were like, oh, okay, yeah.
So then we walk away, and then this guy comes up. And secret about Americans that are not really all that secret, where I would say Americans are much more, like, polite, like, falsely polite, I guess. Like, we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings ever. So we as Americans stop and talk to the people that try to talk to us, because that's the polite thing to do.
Yeah, really, this one, like, was just like, hey, you know, and tried to give us a high five, and he was like, oh, I'm from Kenya.
Kenya.
Oh, where
Kenya.
are you from? And we were like, America, and we were trying to like leave because we were like, we don't want to get sucked into this one too, you know, because we were kind of like starting to catch on. We were like, no, we don't want anything, and he was like,
I actually really like this bracelet.
Yeah, he was like, no, this is a gift, like no money, like it's free, like. No, it's just...
We paid €2 for this
one. But we were like, no, we don't want it. And he literally, like, put it on our wrist. And we were like, no, we don't want to pay for it. Like, take it back. And he was like, no. And we were like, bro, we don't want to pay for it. And then he tries to hand us another thing. And we were like, we don't
have money.
We don't want it. And he was like, yeah. And then he was like, it's €5. And we were like, we don't have €5 in coins. And I wasn't about to just give him, like, a bill or anything. So I was like, no. And I gave him back, like, the little thing that he gave me. And I was like, take this bracelet back. And he was like, no, I'm not going to take it back. So we had to just give him €2 just to get out of it.
Honestly, though, that guy still wasn't extremely annoying like the third guy.
Yeah,
this one, though, I really do like this bracelet. These go well together.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been extremely mad about it if it stopped at here. Yeah, it's what it looks like. It's a little elephant. I think it's cute.
It is cute.
But, so then...
Like a couple hours later.
Yeah, and that guy actually, I think he got us because we laughed at his joke because he said, where are you guys from? And we say, America. And he said, oh, I love America. America's
not racist.
Yeah,
and
he said, like, no racist, white and black.
And we were like, thank you. Can you please come to America and say that? Because that would be wonderful.
Yes, America. The guy from Africa said that we're not racist.
Yeah, it was funny and we laughed, but we were like, we don't want anything, like, please, no, and like, we really tried. We were like literally walking away and he was like, no, and he was like following us. We were like, no, like, we don't want anything, and then he literally like just...
Don't trust the gypsies, even though they act really nice. So then, the third guy, this guy just made me so mad. So... The rule about don't touch it applies, okay? So if they throw it at you, you're supposed to let it drop, but instinct would be to catch it. So I caught it when the third guy threw this exact bracelet at me. So I caught it, and I was like, no, I am not buying this. I already have them. And we even, like, showed them our wrists that we already had these bracelets. So then he hands me this little turtle.
Yeah, he hands me an elephant.
Yeah, so... We were annoyed, but we were like,
take this back.
Yeah, we were like, we have no money, no.
And then we said, well, we really like the turtle, like, and I like the elephant, and we were like, can we give you €1 for it? And he said yes. So we said okay.
So I gave him a €2 coin, one for me and one for her.
And then he was like, that's not enough. I have a big family and I need more money. And we were like, well then no, we don't want it. And I like we're trying to give it back. I'm like, give me my money back.
We were like, okay, €2 is enough, like whatever. So I give him another €2 coin. So then he takes back hers and just walks away. So I had to pay €4 for this dumb little thing.
Yeah, and after that, we were, like, extremely angry about it.
I was so mad.
And so, like, everyone else, we were like, no, like, get away. Like,
we started deciding to not speak English to them. So.
Yeah, and then the more and more you look around the city, the more you can see them everywhere. Like, they are, and you see other people getting conned into it, too.
I felt so bad for those people.
Yeah, but, I mean, they are absolutely everywhere. And it's a little better if you walk by the... I don't know what was going on with the police, but there was a lot of police everywhere. But if you walk close to the policemen, they tend to stay as far away from the policemen as possible.
Sunny told me that they are so illegal that, like, they even have, like, the things that they, like, put everything on the ground on, like, a sheet or whatever, and then they have, like, little pull systems so that if a police happens, they can just pull it and then go in, like, a second. So, just stay close to the...
Yeah.
Although, Europeans, can you please tell me why there are so many men in army suits with machine guns everywhere? I figured that would be more of an American thing than a European thing, and I personally hate guns, and I was terrified the entire time in Rome, in Berlin, and in Paris. Paris?
Yeah, it was Paris, Berlin, and Rome. But I didn't see any in Venice. I haven't seen any in Finland.
It was terrifying. Yeah. They were like huge guns. Like most terrifying machine guns that you can even imagine, and they're everywhere. Like, I don't know, I figured Europe was just, like, so anti-gun that you guys didn't need machine guns.
Well, they have
all the time.
a lot of terrorist attack threats, but
yeah,
it was fine. If you stay close to them, then you can avoid some of the gypsies. But, I mean, between all of them together in Rome, I mean, you can't walk, like, 5 seconds. So it was really irritating to try to get anywhere. Because we're like,
it was most irritating whenever we were having, like, I don't know, not deep conversations, but, like, conversations about, we were in front of the Colosseum where I think it was, like, 700,000 people died or something like that. And we were talking about, like, how awful it was, what happened there. And selfie stick, Rose, turtle, like, no, not the right place.
Yeah, I think they could definitely do a better job of keeping them away, because one guy was almost arrested because he, like, would not leave this couple alone. So, I mean, it does get, like, overwhelming, and you just need to be like, no, just, like, we started walking on, like, other sides of the street because we were like, we're so done with it. And we were just like, no. And then we just spoke in Finnish to each other so that they didn't think that we spoke English. So that worked for a long time.
Although we don't know a lot of Finnish, but we know enough to pretend that we know Finnish. But it was really getting old that we had to say random numbers to the people.
We alternated languages because we can speak a little bit of a couple different languages, so we would just alternate and say, like, different things.
We even did, like, sign language to each other at one point, like.
Yeah, but I mean, I would just recommend to stay away from them. But that was pretty much Rome.
Say Kitos every time, and then they're like, "What is that?" And then they leave.
Yeah, all in all, it was a good trip in Rome. I would recommend it. I'd go back.
I loved Rome, other than the pushy people. Yeah. We even saw a colony of cats. In one of the forums, the mayor has made it so that, like, there's a colony of cats, and nobody can touch them. Like, nobody's allowed to hurt them.
200 protected cats, but they're really cute. They're friendly. They, like, come up the fence.
One of them bit me.
And, well, they were friendly, and you can pet them, and they're really cute, and there's a lot of them, so that was cool. But yeah, so that was Rome.
Rome was fantastic. 4 out of 5 stars. Yes. But yeah, so that was our entire trip then. Yeah. So see you guys in the next video.